Hello, my name is Randy Dobson. I'm an instructor here in the Houston, Texas area. And this video will be my final video on model space, paper space. It should be 3 of 3. Kind of wrap this up with a few little pieces of information specifically on layers. But I did check on some things, and I was luckily I could remember. I know in the second video I was showing y'all how easy you had it now by just changing this from 1 to 20 right here. Uh, well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to just mess up this scale. The way that we used to have to do it was we had to type in Z, enter, S, enter, and then if we wanted to be 20 scale, we had to put 1 over 20 XP, hit enter, and as you can see now it says 1 to 20 down here. So you're able to select the window and select this, where we had to go through the zoom scale factor and then do all of that, and it was much more complicated. I'm just going to wrap that up part. Now another thing I wanted you to know, I made these viewports all in this layout, but I'm going to go to this layout and type in MV. Okay, and I'm going to make some viewports, just some real quick ones. And again, these are viewports to the real world. So if I double click in here and do a donut, right there, you notice it shows up on all these, shows up on these, and of course it'll show up in the real world. Okay, if I was to make it a little bit smaller here, there's the donut there. If I go back to layout, there's the first one, changed all the real world. This one you can't see real good. I'll zoom in. I'll go to this other layout and it changes there. So again, imagine your house with all the windows around your house and the outside world. Anything you change, and you go outside and well, don't do this, but you go outside and see a tree and you paint it pink. From any window, if you can see that tree, it will be pink. Okay. Now, in later versions of Autocad, the layer properties has become very, very prevalent in dealing with the model space and paper space. I'm going to come up here to layer properties, and I'm just going to make a couple layers. I'm going to call this red, and I'll call this green, and I'll call this magenta, just so we'll know the colors if I can spell it. So we'll make this one magenta, make this one green, and we will make this one red. Okay, so when you're working with viewports, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to the real world, and I'm going to change this circle to green. Actually, I'm going to make both these circles green, the little ones on the green layer. I'm going to make this big one on the magenta, and I'll leave the donut there on 0, and I'll put this one on red. Okay, so when I go to these layouts, what do you see but those colors? Even when I come over here to there, here we got green, magenta, red, and white. But now AutoCAD allows you to adjust the properties just in that viewport. It doesn't change anything else. So if you go to layer properties, you see this right here, but you slide over and there's some more. Here's some viewport information. Now, for this to come into play, you have to activate the window. So I'm going to double click in here. Now I've activated this window. When I go to layer properties, it is only for this window. So watch what happens. I'm going to move this down a little bit so we can see it. Okay, I don't want to go too far and mess it up. So in this viewport, see, here's the main colors. I don't want to mess with the main colors. I want to mess with the viewport colors. So in this viewport, I don't want green. I want those to be cyan. See, they're cyan, but they're still green here. And let's say this red line, I don't even want to see the red line. I'm going to freeze it in this viewport. Okay, so I've changed that. Now I'm going to come over to this viewport, highlight this viewport, do this layer properties, come over here and we'll make the green, let's make it yellow, and we'll just freeze the magenta circle, and we'll change this to blue, the line. So as you can see, I'm over here changing just the way it looks. I'm not affecting the model space. See, the model space is still the way it was. It's just I may want certain things on in here. I may say that I don't, I don't want these two circles on in here, so I can just activate this window, come up here to freeze layers, and freeze those two layers, and they're not shown in here. When I come back over here to layout 1, here's still the original layer properties. Here's your original colors. Now if I change anything here, it will change on all of them. If I change the green to cyan, as you can see, these changed to cyan, this changed to cyan, this did. But when I go back over here, these didn't. Okay, because I made the change in the viewport. When you open up the layer properties, I want you to watch this real closely. See, I'm just in layout. I'm not in the window. Watch how these change right here when I double click the window. Notice how they changed? This froze, this yellow and blue changed. It's even highlighting it for you. I double click outside, watch yellow and blue. They go back to cyan and red. Okay, many people will look at this and they can't figure out how to manipulate it, and it's because of this bar of sliding it over. VP is viewport. I can change my line type. I could make this dashed. I could make this center line or phantom. This is probably one of the most important things to remember when you're dealing with model space and paper space. Now, here's the overwhelming thing that will scare people, but I want you to understand that it is very manageable. This drawing that I have right here, I've got model space. That's one layer set of properties. That's one. I've got this layout. That's two layer property sets, two. Then each window, 3, 4, 5, 6 layer property, different ones, 6. This layout, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this drawing has 10 of these that can all be different. Okay, this is, and again, it's just one at a time. It's not like you're trying to juggle 10 of them, but you just need to know that when you open this, if you're sitting here and you want to change this magenta, that big circle, and you come over here and you go to magenta and change it to yellow. See, it didn't change because you didn't activate the window. Once you activate the window, then you go to layer properties, slide this over, go to magenta, change it to yellow, and now you'll see that it's yellow. There it is. Okay, very important. And look at me when I'm highlighting it. See, this one over here is highlighting because it is the same one. And you're not recreating, creating, or changing anything except the display properties. You may get a drawing that has an object and dimensions, and then a ball supervisor says, hey, I need a plot of this with no dimensions. Well, you could do another viewport without the dimensions, or you could just freeze the dimensions in that viewport, plot it out for them. There's several different ways of doing that. But dealing with these, again, I want you to just remember model space is where everything is to scale. To here, it's you use a scale to set your viewport. And that concludes my videos on model space and paper space. Thank you.